I'll apply that expertise to introduce legislation like I suggested in Washington State that will make government more business-like and more business-friendly. I also plan to introduce legislation that would cut taxes for small businesses that would be paid for by improvements in government efficiency, to take that money we save and put it directly to creating jobs in the private sector. I'm for holding the line on tuition in our state because the high quality of education has a direct correlation to the success in our state in terms of industry and in terms of creating a workforce for the 21st century. I stand with victims of domestic violence and crimes against children because the acts require the penalties that need to fit those crimes. These are just a few of the issues I stand for, and what you stand for is just as important as who you stand with. I stand with the people of 9A to protect our quality of life, and unlike the incumbents, we stand with the Tea Party and for values that are out of step with the people in our district. I'm proud to stand with Howard County educators, police, and sheriff, as well as the Sierra Club and League of Conservation Voters, as the only candidate endorsed by all of these organizations. I ask for your vote in November. Thank you very much.
Delegate Miller.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank the League for having me here tonight. I'm a proud lifelong resident of Northern Howard County. I live on a small farm with my wife Jane and my 2 kids who go to public school. I'm very proud of them. You know, I think it's an important distinction to make that over the 8 years I've been in Annapolis, I've either sponsored or co-sponsored 105 bills that have been signed into law. So you hear a lot of clamor about how I say no a lot. I say no on the really bad bills that hurt business. I'm proud to say that Gail and Alan and I have been endorsed by the Maryland Farm Bureau, the National Federation of Independent Business, and the Maryland Chamber of Commerce for our pro-business commitment. I was recently honored as the 2010 Legislator of the Year by the Maryland Retailers Association. I'm happy to say I was the author of Maryland's Transparency Bill, which allows you to see how the state is spending your hard-earned tax dollars. And in closing, I really don't think it's right that you have a state government run by our governor and our Democrats that outnumber us 3-1 in Annapolis, and they want you to pay for Cadillac government, but they want you to drive around in a Yugo. They want you to pay less to help your family with tough issues, but they want to waste your money, and that's what they do at the state level. I've seen tons of waste. We've offered responsible budgets. They don't listen to us. I think over the next 4 years, if I've given the opportunity to go back with Governor Ehrlich, you'll see a big change in Maryland. You'll see affordable government. You'll see a reduction in the size of government. You'll see some of these people that I knock on their doors and they've just recently lost their private sector job. And they're wondering how they're going to pay that tax bill or they're going to pay whatever the next bill is. And they've lost that private sector job because of a poor business climate and because of an administration that doesn't pay attention to the needs of Marylanders. So I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Delegate Bates. Delegate Bates.
Thank you. Thank you to the League and to all of the partners of the League for putting this program on. It really is an honor to be here. It's been an incredible honor to serve the residents of District 9A since 2003. I am a former teacher. I am currently a CPA with a small private practice. For the last 4 years in Annapolis, I have been the ranking member of the Appropriations Committee, so I have seen firsthand the increased spending. And we have offered up, under my leadership, our caucus has offered up alternative budgets. Before the major tax increase in 2007, we put together a budget that would level fund from the prior year, and over a period of 2 years would have gotten us out of the budget problem we were in without any increases in taxes. That went on deaf ears down in Annapolis. Delegate Miller and I in the House and Senator Kittleman in the Senate stand as a check and a balance on some of this increased spending that we see year after year. We heard earlier from some of the delegates that they've cut $5 billion, or more than $5 billion out of the state budget. I have a 3.5-year-old grandson who understands that $32 billion is more than $27 or $28 billion. Cuts I think maybe we need to redefine them. In my mind, cuts mean you're spending less. We are spending more. We continue to spend more, and most of our budget this past year was propped up by federal spending that we know is going to fall by the wayside. So where we have had that propping us up, and when we no longer have it, we're going to have to make some serious decisions. The last time when we had no deficit, but the governor spent the money, Governor O'Malley spent the money so he could raise taxes, I see us going in that same direction. And frankly, when your taxes are the highest in the region, that's not a good place to start looking. Our people are taxed enough. That's what the Tea Party's all about, taxed enough already. We need to streamline our budget, and I've been working hard to do that, and I would like to continue doing that for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams.
My wife and I moved here in 1978. We weren't fortunate enough to be born here, but smart enough to move here. And the reason is very much like I bet most of you have, the educational system. And that's really why I'm running. I want to defend that educational system. I want to defend it against my opponent. I don't think he's doing such a good job with it. I also want a good environment. His score of 0 is embarrassing. But now I also want to get to that point I wanted to make before about Route 32. I think he's been irresponsible. I mentioned the last session that he sent an email when someone passed away on the road. And that was a nice measure. But it was Ken Allman and the governor who sent $3 million to do repairs to the road. Now, leading back to what I had mentioned before, there is actually a third delegate, and that's a delegate in Carroll County, Delegate Sue Krebs. And she has put into the hopper, into the legislative sessions, in the last 2 sessions, a bill so that money's going into the transportation fund would be restricted for that purpose. That's responsible accounting. That's good fiscal responsibility. That's what we need in Annapolis. Right now we've got a mentality of flexing. Move it here, move it there. And yet my opponent ran individuals against her twice to get rid of her. I don't see where he's being responsible. And that's part of the reason I'm running. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Senator Kittleman.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and their partners for sponsoring tonight, because I think it's important that the citizens of Howard County get a chance to see who is running for office, and they can see that they have stark choices. I have been privileged to serve the folks of Howard County on the County Council for 6 years, and now 6 years in the State Senate. It's been a great privilege. I've enjoyed every moment of it. I have had an opportunity to meet people throughout Ellicott City, Western Howard County, Northern Howard County, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with them in their education issues, as well as their transportation issues and budget issues as well. But what's interesting is the problem we're facing today, and you hear our Democratic challengers telling us we're the problem. How ludicrous is that? You heard Delegate Miller say that we're 1/3 or less than 1/3 of the legislature. I sit as a Senate Minority Leader. I am the leader of the Republican caucus in the State Senate. I don't ever get invited to any meetings on the budget. Don't ever get invited to any meetings dealing with crucial issues. In fact, the Senate leadership meets in private in the back rooms and makes their decisions without anyone else coming in. That's how things are done in Annapolis, ladies and gentlemen. Is that what you want? You know what? It's not the Republicans' fault that things are broken in Annapolis. The Republicans have not had control in Annapolis in the legislature for decades. Decades. If you're having a problem in Annapolis, you need to get new people who are not part of the one-party monopoly. We're at the edge of the cliff, ladies and gentlemen. Martin O'Malley's own people says we're at the edge of the cliff because we've borrowed from everybody, we've used federal money, and now we're stuck. Do you think they're going to fix it when they cause the problem? And I was very sad to hear one of the candidates here criticize the Tea Party. Holy cow, here's some people who are standing up for their rights, people who are making themselves be heard the way our founders wanted them to be. We should be proud of those folks who are willing to stand up. And you know what? All of us should stand up against the one-party rule. All of us should stand up and make sure that every citizen in Maryland is heard and make sure that we all have our rights and it's open and fair government. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. We've appreciated your comments. Thank you for the evening. Appreciate it.